Next up is the near group. Take it, Ernie, you're the one that's gonna lead that presentation.
Yeah.
Go ahead and start. You got you scheduled for a half hour, so.
Half hour,
Yep.
oh boy, I'm gonna have to say it. Okay. All right, I'll just get started with the presentation. That's what it's mostly about anyway. So on the record and for the record, we are the sovereign people on Stevens County. In bringing and presenting the oath of office ordinance to the Stevens County Commissioners, we feel it necessary to give this primer from a layman's understanding. Courts must presume that a legislature says in a statute what it means and means in a statute what it says there. U.S. Supreme Court cases. And that statutes must be written clearly so that men and women of common intelligence all derive the same meaning. Let it be clear that laymen of common intelligence, such as are we the people, should all be able to derive the same meaning from the law and RCW statutes. What you need to know about the law. Everything in law must be defined by law, conform to law, function in support of the law, and is therefore bound by the law. RCW 36-16-040, Oath of Office. Every person elected to county office shall, before he or she enters upon the duties of his or her office, take and subscribe the oath or affirmation. Place of filing oaths and bonds, RCW 36-16-060. Every county officer, before entering upon the duties of his or her office, shall file his or her oath of office in the office of the county auditor. Oaths and bonds of deputies shall be filed in the office in which the oaths and bonds of their principals are required to be filed. In 1896, revised codes of statutes and codes of the state of Washington under prosecuting attorney, chapter 30, speak under deputies, the prosecuting attorney of each county may appoint one or more deputies. And I'll read what's in red. Such appointment shall be in writing, signed by the prosecuting attorney and filed in the county auditor's office. The prosecuting attorney shall be responsible for the acts of his deputies. Each deputy shall, before entering upon his duties, take the oath of office, which shall be endorsed upon his appointment. Chapter 30 notwithstanding, under Codes of Ethics, RCW 42, Chapter 23, definitions, municipality shall include all counties, ... organized under the laws of the state of Washington. Municipal officer and officer shall each include all elected and appointed officers together with all deputies and assistants of such an officer. The definition of officer includes elected, appointed, deputies, and assistants. Duties of the county auditor under RCW 6504-015. Recording officer means the county auditor, charged with the responsibility for recording instruments in the county records. File, filed, or filing means the act of delivering an instrument to the auditor or recording officer for recording into the official public records. Record, recorded, or recording means the process used by the auditor or recording officer after filing to incorporate the instruments into the public record. Recording number means a unique number that identifies the storage location, book or volume and page, auditor recording officer file number, of each instrument in the public record, accessible in the same recording office where the instrument containing the reference to the location is found. RCW 6504.030, instruments to be recorded or filed. The auditor or recording officer must, upon the payment of the fees as required in RCW 3618.010 for the same, and record the following: 1. Deeds, grants, and transfers, etc. 2. Patents to lands, etc. 3. All such other papers as are required by law to be recorded and such as are required by law to be filed. Now let's reread RCW 3616.060. Place of filing oaths and bonds. Every county officer before entering upon the duties of his or her office shall file his or her oath of office in the office of the county auditor. Oaths and bonds of deputies shall be filed in the offices in which the oath and bonds of their principals are required to be filed. The word filed, as according to the definitions, means record and be put in the official public records. Okay. Now, RCW 6508-140, no liability for error in recording when properly indexed. A recording officer, auditor, is not liable if the instrument is properly indexed with a reference to the volume and page or recording number where the instrument is actually of record. My notations, absent a recording number, a document is not of record, and therefore the recording officer, auditor, becomes liable. Fees to be paid or tendered, RCW 6504-130. Said county auditor is not bound to record any instrument or file any paper until his or her fees for the same as prescribed by law are paid or tendered. Duty to record, RCW 6508-150. A recording officer, upon payment of the lawful fees, shall record any instrument authorized or permitted to be so recorded by the laws of this state. A reference to the auditor's fees, which we won't talk about here. RCW 42-20-030, intrusion into and refusal to surrender public office. Every person, I'm just going to read what's in red, every person who shall willfully exercise any of the functions or perform any of the duties of such officer without having duly qualified therefore as required by law shall be guilty of a gross misdemeanor. RCW 9.92.020, punishment of gross misdemeanor when not fixed by statute. I'll just let you read that there later. Liability of auditor for damages. If any county auditor to whom an instrument proved or acknowledged according to law, which may by law be recorded, is delivered for record, neglects to record such instrument within a reasonable time after receiving the same, he or she is liable to the party aggrieved for the amount of damage which may be occasioned thereby. The bold, underlined, and color emphasis not in the original online copy. The Washington legislative acts signed into law as codified in the above RCWs are evidence that most, if not all, elected and appointed officers of Stevens County, together with all deputies and assistants, are in violation of the law and subject to the penalties according to law. First, here are two examples of properly filed recorded oaths of office by former county officials. Okay, there it goes. Okay, this was in 2006. This is actually the oath of office of Pamela Payne, District Court Judge. It's got an auditor file number and it shows the fee paid there. This is what what they're supposed to look like. If I can find my button here. So there's also one other thing, and that is the official volume, book and page number on there. That's the way the oath of office is supposed to look when it's properly recorded. Here's another one. This is former County Commissioner J.D. Anderson back in 1995. By the way, before I go any further, let's just look here. This was, let's see, this was, okay, Steve Gray. Yeah, I know, this is 2000. This is, Tim Gray was the auditor back then, so it's not like he's ignorant of how to do them right, okay? Okay, now J.D. Anderson's, here's another one. Here's, you got the file stamp clocked in, the filing fee, the amount the fee is paid, book and page number also, and 95, Tim Gray was also the auditor. This is the notice of election. It shows the index file number up here. It's the way all these are supposed to be done. Okay, now here are the oaths of office for all current elected county officials that are not properly filed or recorded. If your oath of office is not properly filed or recorded in the official public records of the county, then by what authority are you or anybody of the elected officials actually officially in office? The following oaths of office are non-compliant with RCW 6504-015, RCW 6504-030, paragraph 3, RCW 6508-150, RCW 3616-060, and RCW 3618-010 at minimum. All these oaths are going to show up here received. That is not the same as being filed or recorded. They just show a date. I want to point out one thing. The oath of office was timely taken. It was taken before this individual assumed the office, okay? And this actually, so there's no evidence of being filed, no evidence of an auditor file number, no evidence of a fee paid, no evidence of being recorded in the official public records. This is Tim Gray, the auditor's own oath of office, not properly filed in the record. This is our prosecuting attorney, Tim Rasmussen, timely taken, not properly filed and made a part of the official public record. This next oath is Gina Vietz, sorry. District Court Judge, not recorded.
Wow.
Down below here, was timely taken before she assumed office, but it was not properly in the official public records. Next one, Alan Taylor, the Stevens County Assessor, timely taken up here, not filed. Patricia Chester, our Stevens County Clerk and ex officio clerk of the Superior Court, timely taken but not properly filed. The next one is Patty Hancock, our Stevens County Coroner, timely taken up here, but again, not no evidence of being filed in the official public record. No book and page, no fee paid on any of these. Yeah. Next one is Sue Harney, Stevens County Treasurer, timely taken. No evidence of being filed. The next one is Mr. DeShiel here, timely taken, no evidence of being filed. Likewise with Mr. Parker, same thing, timely taken, not filed. And Mr. McCard as well, timely taken, not filed. The next one here is Kendall Allen. Okay, now there's a lot of interesting circumstances that surround this. We'll just touch base on what is here in front of us. He took the oath on November 23rd, 2010. That was the same day the election was certified, and that he was fulfilling or completing the unexpired term of the previous sheriff who had resigned and took an appointment as a U.S. Marshal. So he took office, assumed office the same day. Then all of a sudden, because the RCWs read very, let me see, I passed it up here, I think. Yeah, it's here. Okay, so now if you look at the date, no, there's no date up there. There is one down here. Received March 12, 2014, a little less than a month ago. Here's what the RCW 29A 24.020, oath not timely taken per RCW, okay? But that's not the title of it, sorry. The candidate elected to both such terms, in other words, short term or unexpired term and the full term, candidate elected to both terms shall be sworn into and assume office for the short term as soon as the election returns have been certified, and shall again be sworn into office for the full term. Shall again be sworn, okay? So, first of all, so he didn't do this prior to January 1 of 2011, so he just took it 3 years, a couple months late. Still no evidence, even though they just did it, it's still just marked received, it's a certified copy, and there's no evidence of being filed into the public record. And of course, you know, that Justice Dunbar of the Washington Supreme Court stated, if an officer is so careless of the requirement of the law under which he is elected that he neglects to qualify, is a fair indication that he will be neglectful in the transaction of the duties of his office. The oath of office ordinance has 3 basic parts. 1, individuals in service to the people on Stevens County or otherwise employed by Stevens County, or any officer or employee of any state or federal agency that intends to appear, operate, or function in any official capacity within the interior of the exterior boundaries of Stevens County shall take the constitutional oath of office and furnish bond. There's 3 parts to that, A, B, and C. A is all individuals now employed or upon employment with Stevens County and thus deriving a paycheck from the county treasury shall, as a condition of their employment and or service to the people of the county, take and subscribe the oath of office or affirmation and file, record, same with the Stevens County Auditor, and pay the requisite recording fee at their own expense. B, individuals in service to the people of the state of Washington, intending or otherwise directed to exercise some form of assumed jurisdictional authority or appear in any official capacity within Stevens County, shall take the constitutional oath of office and furnish bond. C, individuals in service to the federal government of the United States who intend or are otherwise directed to exercise some form of assumed jurisdictional authority, or appear in any official capacity in Stevens County shall take the constitutional oath of office and furnish bond. This is the people's county, and the people are not being protected from those who are taking oaths but not honoring their oaths, and we the people have very little recourse. So, questions: why are the people presenting this oath of office ordinance, and why do the people feel it necessary to have such an ordinance? Because there exists a disconnect between the people and their public servants. The people have lost confidence that their public servants are capable of monitoring or policing themselves to remain compliant with state law. The people want their public servants to appreciate their financial sacrifices and not carry an attitude of superiority. Therefore, the people desire all their public servants in Stevens County to swear or affirm their support for the Constitution and laws of the United States of America and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington, where the people's public servants will honor, respect, and never violate the people's unalienable rights those constitutions protect. We need to be looking ahead at how we will restore a God-honoring constitutional republic. Grand juries are essential to that happening. Matt Shea, Washington State Representative. It all starts here today in Stevens County, Washington. Let the record reflect and memorialize that we the people are not without empathy. The fact is, from the plain, unambiguous reading of the Washington State statutes, the evidence of the certified copies of their oaths of office, not one elected official in Stevens County is compliant with state law and is therefore not properly in office. Whether intentional or not, by subterfuge or ignorance, the people present a conditional offer of amnesty as an addendum to the oath of office ordinance. Conditional offer of amnesty. Purpose: the sovereign people's conditional offer of amnesty is extended to Stevens County elected and appointed officers and deputies currently serving the people under a subscribed oath of office, but under an oath of office which fails to qualify as being properly filed into the official public records as prescribed by those legislative acts that are codified in revised codes of Washington, RCW 3616-060 and RCW 6504-015. This failure to duly qualify, let's see where I lost my spot. Lost my spot. Okay, this failure to duly qualify for office is not harmless error. Deliberate or not, ignorance of the law for public officials is not an excuse. All public officials and deputies so affected by this failure to duly qualify are subject to the penalties of the legislative acts that are codified in RCW 4220.030 and RCW 9.92.020. Terms and conditions of amnesty. First condition: that the oath of office ordinance be enacted within a period of time not to exceed 45 days from the date subscribed to this conditional offer of amnesty. Second condition: it is acknowledged and understood that it is a violation of their oath of office or oath of their superior should any elected or appointed official, deputy, or other employee of Stevens County in any way or manner interfere or otherwise inhibit the sovereign people's unalienable rights, including but not limited to the right to constitute a common law grand jury. Time period of amnesty. This amnesty period shall extend for 45 days to the date of this notice, giving time for the Stevens County Commissioners to execute the oath of office ordinance wherein this conditional offer of amnesty is incorporated. This will grant sufficient time for those officers, elected or appointed, and deputies so affected to pay the legislative filing recording fee and to cause their existing oath of office to be properly incorporated into the official public record. Failure to do so will vacate their office. Amnesty is not immunity. This conditional offer of amnesty grants restoration to office for those public officials so affected as if their oaths of office were properly filed timely, as prescribed by those legislative acts that are codified in RCW 3616-060 and RCW 6504-015, and from the penalties of the legislative acts that is codified in RCW 4220-030 and RCW 9.92.020. However, amnesty does not grant immunity from claims by parties adversely affected, including but not limited to threat, duress, intimidation, coercion, assault, kidnapping, and/or false imprisonment under color of law, color of office, and/or color of authority, as according to the common law, the laws and the Constitution of the State of Washington, and the laws and the Constitution for the United States of America. Technically, all offices of all elected officials in Stevens County are vacant. Technically, you don't even have the lawful authority to execute this oath of office ordinance without the grant of the will of the people in attendance here today presenting this conditional offer of amnesty. Technically, only this conditional offer of amnesty granted by the people allows you to remain in office to pass this oath of office ordinance. We the people urge this Board of Commissioners to focus solely on passing this ordinance, becoming fully compliant with state law, and restoring respect for the elective offices of Stevens County. Then and only then will you have the lawful authority from the people to carry on the duties of your respective offices. We the people have clearly shown that whenever the people are well informed, they can be trusted with their own government. That whenever things get so far wrong as to attract their notice, they may be relied upon to set them to rights. Thomas Jefferson. By initiative, the people declared, the people of the state do not yield their sovereignty to the agencies that serve them. The people in delegating authority do not give their public servants the right to decide what is good for the people to know and what is not good for them to know. The people insist on remaining informed so that they may maintain control over the instruments that they have created. This chapter shall be liberally construed and its exemptions narrowly construed to promote this public policy and to assure that the public interest will be fully protected. In the event of conflict between the provisions of this chapter and any other act, that means all the RCWs, in any conflict between the provisions of this chapter and any other act, the provisions of this chapter shall govern. We are the sovereign people in Stevens County. We the people are the first branch of government, for without we the people, the other three branches of government would not exist. Submitted to the Stevens County Commissioners on its 8th day of April, 2014 in Colville, Washington. Acknowledgements and appreciation. Special thanks is given to the following people on Stevens County that have assisted with the creation of this oath of office ordinance. J.D. Anderson, former county commissioner, for his past experience in dealing with ordinances, his valuable input, and wise counsel. Jimmy and Tony Clark for their tireless study of the law, statutes, and legal research that over the years has resulted in a community awareness of a double standard when it comes to elected servants with respect to the people they serve. Paul Dye, a regular guy that has been there to offer suggestions for improvement and for being so very supportive of the idea to offer our elected officials a mulligan, the offer of amnesty. Near that list, the list wouldn't be complete without a huge thank you to all the great people who faithfully participate in the teachings and activities of the Neighborhood Emergency Action Response Near Group. Without your support and willingness to put your names on the line and stand up for the truth and do what is right, regardless of the consequences or scorn, you are so very much appreciated. Thank you to Don DeShiel, Wes McCart, and Steve Parker for hearing us out. Always remember, it is our mission to work with you, not against you. It is our desire to see Stevens County, our county, become a shining example to every other county in the state. We want Stevens County to be known as the county that does it right, not just another county filled with corruption. What we have presented here today is a momentous first step. We encourage you to take that first step with us. Thank you. We may have time for maybe two quick comments before we gotta vacate. By the way, the original documents are up front.
Rule and order. You gentlemen are our elected employees. You are elected to act as our agents. You are our proxies. You are to act as if and in our best interests. Not just me, all the people in Stevens County, including your families. There is indeed a double standard. The rank and file person is expected to cross the T's, dot the I's, and endlessly told that ignorance of the law is no excuse. The truth is, it's no excuse for you folks either. Because you saw the RCWs here, they've been there for, when I say there, they've been there for years. It would appear that there is a very serious problem with the auditor's office, at the very least. It goes beyond the auditor's office, but at the very least. I am guessing, I don't know this, that either some people, or probably Tim Gray himself, either doesn't know, and it's hard for me to believe he doesn't know, or just doesn't understand the ramifications of the position in which they find themselves. It is evident that Tim Gray does understand how to do it, since he signed off and recorded Pamela Payne's and J.D. Anderson's oaths of office and recorded them properly and took the associated fees. The issue with the fees is not necessarily to get money for the county. I believe the issue of the fees is for elected and appointed officials to actually have a little tiny bit of skin in the game, a little bit of money in the game, their own money, not somebody else's money, their own money, to file the fee. I don't think 32 bucks is going to, bankrupt a commissioner. You make somewhere between 50 and 55 grand, or a sheriff who makes 77 or whatever he makes, $80,000 a year. It's certainly not going to be missed by you folks. The issue isn't the money. The issue is there are laws on the books, and you expect us to dot the T's and I's and follow all of our laws. We're not asking for any favors, any special requests. We're just asking you to do your job, to follow the RCWs. We should never have to do this. This should never have to be done.
That's right.
You people should have done this yourself.
That's right.
You are supposed to have an open government to all of us, and I would think that you'd be very interested in doing this, because this is a blemish on you individually. Not that you caused it, you probably inherited it. But whether you inherited it or not, it's irrelevant. You fellows need to correct it, all of you. There isn't one elected, probably not even appointed official in Stevens County at the moment that has legally, some of them have taken them timely. I know all three of you have taken your oaths timely. I'm very fully aware of that. But you're either given false information. This tells me you have an incompetent in office, very probably. Tim Gray passes himself off as a professional, but in reality, to allow this situation to develop over, we're talking probably almost 20 years, 15 to 20 years at the very least. This tells me that you have an incompetent in there who runs as a professional. You need to pass this ordinance, clean up your acts, which I don't think were necessarily done deliberately on your part, but that's irrelevant. You need to clean it up. And we want virtually just what this says. Everybody that works for the county to have an oath of office and a bond, and to be properly recorded, pay pay the fee themselves. The elected officials only have to pay the fee once every, in your case, 4 years. 32 bucks every 4 years ain't going to kill you. The full-time employees would have to pay this when they assume or are hired on, and they'd only have to pay it once until they either retire or leave or quit or whatever happens. The issue isn't the money. The issue is follow the law. There is a double standard, and we're a little bit tired of it, and you have it within your power to correct this. And we just trust that you will do the right thing. Thank you.
We're going to run out of time,
Yeah, I know
so if
that.
you don't
I
mind,
understand.
I'd like to
Sure.
give her just a couple of quick questions. Does everybody in the room agree with the presentation the way that it stands?
Yes.
Okay. I want to make a couple of comments that are personal. First of all, I agree that we need to do the same as you do. If you take something down to be filed with the auditor and you're required to pay a recording fee,
Yes.
then we should do the same. I've known about that for a while. I was informed of that early on after I took the oath by a gentleman that had a fair background in that. And I agreed with it in principle then, and I just didn't do it. So that's procrastination on my part. You said something about you want us to have a little skin in the game. And I take a little bit of exception with that, because I got a lot of skin in this game, and a lot of it comes out of my pocket. I just had a math done for me by my wife last night. I make about $1,000 a month doing this, because I have a business. I have to hire somebody to be down there and work for me, because I'm not there. So the difference between that and that, I'm doing this for about $1,000 a month. I buy a lot of my own gas. I pay a lot of my own way for a lot of way to go. These other gentlemen do the same thing. So I just want to make that a statement to you folks. This is not my get-rich-quick scheme. And this is not my gravy train. I do this for a reason and for a purpose. I think we're a lot aligned in those reasons and purposes.
I just wanted to say, we just wanted to make the presentation today. You guys have not had opportunity to read it and go over it, so I'm sure that there'll be some time down the road here shortly for some public comment and input.
Okay.
So you'll have a better idea. Thank you so much, you guys.
Folks,
Appreciate it.
we do have a next scheduled appointment coming in, so
Yep.
we need to move on to the next item of business. Sorry you didn't get all your questions.
Excuse me,
done.
gentlemen, by the thing, you have 45 days. We're not gonna sit on this for 3 years like the FFO for you to give us the right to eat our own food. 45 days, and then your offices start falling vacant. Thank you.